All right, thank you for staying with us. This leg of the conversation is about, we had an angle of that yesterday, but then it's about the prosecution and, discontinuation of the prosecution of some minors, quote unquote minors now, carefully using those words. Some of those, young people, the government said, disrupted the peace and, threatening to overthrow the government. The last and bad governance protest that held in the country, first of August, the 10th of August. So some of them were arrested and they were brought to court, and the whole thing it became messy. Some of the guys that were brought forward appeared very little, like a child. Many of them between the age range of 10 to 15. And the whole nation were saying, why? Why are you bringing children to court and you're charging them with treason and an attempt to overthrow the government? And, the whole thing went the way it went. At the end of the day, the noise was much. The federal government had to discontinue the case. Those guys were released. But then, one thing is this: it seems, and that's a concern of many persons, that when the picture and videos of those young guys were released, people who did live video with them, when they were given food and snacks to snack on, some of the pictures we saw malnourished children, and people who have not been well fed, very young guys. And at the end of that court session, the counsel to the federal government said those guys we're looking at are not children. They are people's fathers and husbands, and some of them are graduates. That is just a charade. In fact, the police spokesperson said the fainting that happened in the court was scripted and it was, a stage, and all went on like that. But 2 days ago, or yesterday, when they were released 2 days ago, we were now seeing, another image of not so young, not so minor guys, and people are wondering what really happened. Are they in batches, or was it a blend of both? And I just so confused. In fact, many on the social media space are even saying, has there been an exchange? What is really going on? We have with us a political analyst, Deyemi Saka. Possibly he could give us a sense of what is happening with this particular story. Time is a constraint this morning, but then we'll try and do the best that we can. Mr. Saka, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, nice having me. And I'm happy I didn't disappoint again today. So I'm so excited about
we,
that.
we, we appreciate you for that. Now, you had my introduction, and I know you have observed this particular case. What do you think is going on?
Well, I probably want to tell the presidency, which includes the president and his aides and what have you, that they should not attempt an insult to the collective intelligence of Nigerians. There is no way the presidency can feign ignorance of such ongoing or such happenstance or issue, because those people are not, those young men are not charged for breaking an entry, burglary, armed robbery, and what have you. They were
Mm,
charged for treason. And if we could cast our mind back, just immediately after the end bad governance, the NSA issued a statement saying it was a regime change that they wanted to topple the government. So that means the national security agencies and the other all agencies under the coordination of the National Security Advisor came up with a CTREP, a situation report, intelligence estimates, intelligence analysis to form its decision. That
mm,
is what an right thinking organization would have done. So that's what we assume they've done for them to come up with such a statement.
mm,
And after such arrest, and you know you're going to charge them for treason, the number of persons arrested will obviously include the location they were picked from, their age, and everything will be given to Mr. President at a either presidential data intelligence briefing or probably a special national intelligence estimates reporting or briefing
mm,
or national intelligence estimates or briefing. And with such briefing, that you know there's going to be legal implications and legal procedures or proceedings to after such arrest. The Attorney General of the Federation will be in attendance to advise the government how to go about it. Okay, let's start raising charges on them. This is what we stand to gain.
mm.
This is our chances in courts and what have you. So the president, the attorney general cannot feign ignorance, even the IGP unless they didn't go the right route, they don't know what they are doing in Aso Rock as we speak. But if it's about business or going, this is the procedural way to go about it. So coming around to tell us that the president is unaware, this face saving antics, it's laughable. And I tell this to people. The greatest demarketer of the country as we speak right now is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu because of his identity crisis. His identity crisis. The issue of the Chicago thing, how he became messy and everything. So no serious government or country want to deal with us. They were probably a bit skeptical about us. Now with this that happened, this is just pushing the bad perception about us further, and it's laughable because we are the one pushing for grants for humanitarian crisis, pushing for grants for kids with children and women, asking for it, whatever. No sensible, responsible, right-wing organization wants to do anything with us as we speak, because you've shown that you trample on the rights of children. So it's bad for us as a country. It has become worse off for us as a country, and it's interesting. And I'm just trying to look how they want to, even in just in instances where you could write or probably apply for grants. Now the government have to now employ lobbyists to start rebranding the image. We just like making the simplest thing so very, very complex. And now to the comedian, because I call him a comedian, because if it wasn't a comedian, his colleagues behind him would not be laughing. The Rizamonte Ezekiel, the counsel to FG. And why I called him a comedian is very simple and evident. In his statement, he said the boys we paraded in court today are married men. So contradictory. If further in his statement, he called them kids. What do you expect of him? And it wasn't even that the police wanted to arraign those guys. It wasn't the police that brought them to court willingly. It was civil organizations that, instituted case against the police that you've breached their fundamental human rights. That was what forced the police to bring them to court. And you see the forced PRO, Adejobi, I don't have any word to dignify his mockery of humanity. Probably maybe this time I have to get religious or probably sentimental. God will visit him with the right judgment, appropriate judgment for his actions and utterances.
No. Let's speak to the issues, Mr. Saka.
No, I'm serious, because there's nothing you can. How can you be relying on the provisions of laws of 1945 in 2024 just because you want to justify and inhumane treatment to children? Again, I'm looking at the judge. These are things you need to. It's a need for us to reevaluate our national values. I'm looking at the judge that sat down on the bench, saw those kids and slammed them 10 million naira bail condition. It shows you how much we've degenerated, how bad we've gone, how deep we've gone into being.
Mr. Saka, because we're pressed for time, let's just get on with this conversation further.
No
When the videos of these minors came to public glare and people saw some fainting, some looking so malnourished, and the lawyers were giving them snacks and water to drink, a lot of people were so emotional about the situation, and it got people talking, controversies on social media and some media space. But then when these kids were released, it got people confused, because a lot of people were starting to ask the question. We saw kids in the court. Now we are seeing full-grown adults with beards coming out as the released detainees of the End Bad Protesters, End Bad Governance protest.
let me butt in. I
Yeah.
think the reason, I think it like my brother said, it was a mixed population.
Okay.
Some adults and some kids were arrested. That's probably explains or explained why they were charged to a federal high court rather than the magistrate court where a minor should be tried.
Mm.
But away from that, what you would have expected is the controller general of Nigerian Correctional Service should have been sacked. Because who is that? Who probably where were those kids kept? Or who kept those kids in such a facility, either a medium, a maximum facility, instead of a juvenile remand home?
Mm. Mm.
You're not talking about that. All the government is bothered about is
Mr.
face
Saka,
saving.
the
Yeah.
correctional service issued a statement and they said they did everything that they should do and they put those guys in wherever their age belongs and they have done rightly. They issued a press statement.
I've been to a juvenile center somewhere around Oregon. I know I've seen how kids in juvenile centers are treated and what they look like.
Mm.
Those kids we saw in the court were not looking like somebody in a juvenile correctional center.
Mm.
And one other thing, the imports of these actions on our national security is we probably have potential 110 terrorists to contend with, unless these kids are probably rehabilitated and probably can I say reorientated and given the right civics studies and education for them not to turn against the state because the state has failed them.
Yeah, if I may button because we have to go. Are there, I don't know what to call it now, handing over, to their different state government because those guys were picked up from Kano and Kaduna state. The governors were there as well. The vice president told those guys, you have to do what is right, and don't be found in this kind of situation again. And then he handed them over based on their state to their state governors. And the boys were wearing new clothes and everybody went. They were boarded in a bus and they left. This morning we are hearing there are some minors again from Borno that were picked up. And then one will be wondering, are we doing this thing state by state right now? All of a sudden, the Borno people now know that they have children in detention as well. And you said something in the beginning, that the federal government that is now appearing to be feigning ignorance cannot say they didn't know about this all of a sudden, that, this is where we are right now. So where does this put us? If we can do this in 30 seconds, as a people, as a nation.
It puts us as a nation, we are just being ruled by viperous people, and the opposition that should put the government on its toes is dead. So we will probably, as a nation, collectively rise up against this, demand for humanity, or probably just live with this for the next, maybe for the remainder of their first term in office or another 8 years or what have you. But we need to evaluate our national values because we are not acting the perception, we are not acting as human beings. We are not giving the decency to human lives.
Would like to thank you especially, Deyemi Saka, for your analysis, your thoughts and submissions this morning. Deyemi Saka is a public affairs analyst and a security consultant. Thank you for your takes this morning. We appreciate you.
Nice, thank you for having me.
All right, that's the show this morning. Thank you for being a part of our world. We'll make a return tomorrow for the TGIF edition of Morning Spring. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei. You can watch a recap on our YouTube channel at Western Spring TV. Stay tuned for Spring Trends coming right after this broadcast.
Right, Femi Ojo is my name. God bless Nigeria.